Last week at Summer Game Fest, 3 of the biggest games in the world quietly updated their Steam pages. Buried at the bottom, past the screenshots, past the system requirements, a paragraph. Sega, Crystal Dynamics, Activision, 3 different studios, 3 different games. Nearly the same paragraph, word for word. AI was used as a support tool. AI-assisted assets were replaced or refined by humans. Everything in the final product is original. Same structure, same euphemism, same sequence. These companies don't share offices, they don't share engines, but they share lawyers. And while these disclaimers were being copy-pasted onto Steam pages, 45,000 game developers were updating a different document, their resumes. Since January 2024, Valve has required every game on Steam to disclose whether generative AI was used in development. It's not optional. It sits on the store page. It's a public document. The interesting part isn't that studios have to tell you, it's how they tell you. Here's Sega, Crazy Taxi World Tour. Quote, "At Sega Corporation, we utilize generative AI as a support tool for developers. Now Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis." Quote, "AI-assisted tools were used during development to support some early exploration, and Activision Call of Duty, Black Ops 7. Quote, "Our team uses generative AI tools to help develop some in-game assets. 3 studios, strip away the names. The structure is identical. Part 1, AI is just a tool. Part 2, it was limited. Part 3, humans made the real stuff. Every studio uses the same 3-part formula. AI as tool, minimized scope, human reassurance. The language isn't converging by accident. This is a template. And when everyone reads from the same template, that's not disclosure, that's damage control." But Sega's story didn't hold for long. Sunday, June 8th. Sega's Steam page goes live. Generative AI as a support tool for developers. Vague. Could mean anything. By that evening, Game Informer pushes for specifics. Sega narrows it. Generative AI was used to support our teams during the development of background assets. Monday. Series creator Kenji Kano sits down at Summer Game Fest. His version is smaller still. "We used it as a reference. Our artists would generate some of their ideas, and then they would look at that generated image, and then they would draw the actual thing." By Monday night, the final position. Everything in the final product is going to be original. Support tool, background assets, just reference. Everything original. 4 statements in 48 hours, each one smaller than the last. Crystal Dynamics ran the same play. Day 1. AI-assisted tools were used during development. By the follow-up, all finished content in the final product is human-crafted. Same sequence. Vague disclaimer. Scope narrowing. Human-first reassurance. This isn't 3 different studios figuring it out. This is the same PR playbook. Minimize, localize, reassure, and they've used it before. Crimson Desert. Pearl Abyss apologized in March after players found AI-generated paintings in-game. The excuse unintentionally included in the final release. Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 won Game of the Year at the Indie Game Awards on a Thursday. By Saturday, both awards were rescinded because the studio had agreed during submission that no AI was used, then admitted on premiere day that it was. 2 days. From Game of the Year to disqualified? In December 2025, Sega released its Q2 financial report. Investors asked about rising development costs. Sega's answer, verbatim: "Rather than fully following the trend toward large-scale development, we will also pursue efficiency improvements, such as leveraging AI." 6 months before telling gamers, it's just a reference tool, Sega told investors it would leverage AI for efficiency. Different audience, different story. Crystal Dynamics' parent company, Embracer Group, their CEO, Phil Rogers, called generative AI a powerful technology for driving efficiency. Crystal Dynamics itself went through 5 rounds of layoffs in 30 months. September 2023, March 2025, August, November, March 2026, over 100 people gone, while the disclaimer on their Steam page said AI was a support tool to help teams iterate faster. They're not alone. The gaming industry fired 45,000 developers between 2022 and 2025, 14,600 in 2024 alone, the worst year on record. Amir Satvat, who tracks every layoff, projects 11,500 more in 2026. And here's the number that makes all of it land. The global gaming industry generated $195.6 billion in 2025, the highest annual total in history. Record revenue, record layoffs, same year. A professor at McGill studying this exact pattern put it bluntly: AI replacing workers doesn't seem to be actually shaking out. It's being used as an excuse to cut headcount. The disclaimers say support tool. The financial reports say efficiency. The spreadsheets say 45,000 people. All finished content in the final product is human-crafted. Prove it. No studio has ever published a source asset audit. No studio has opened its pipeline for independent verification. Crystal Dynamics says AI assets were replaced or refined by humans. Read that again. Replaced or refined. Replaced means thrown out, human made from scratch. Refined means AI generated, then cleaned up. The word "or" in that sentence is carrying more weight than any asset in the game. One path is honest, the other is laundering. And Valve's own disclosure rules, rewritten in January 2026, only require developers to disclose AI in content that reaches the player. Dev tools like GitHub Copilot? Exempt. Concept art that got thrown away? Exempt. The bar for disclosure is lower than most people realize, so the claim, "everything in the final product is human-crafted," is legally sufficient. It meets the Steam disclosure threshold. Scientifically unverifiable. The pipeline is closed. And economically suspicious. The same companies saying "just a tool" are telling investors efficiency. Players feel it. A Quantic Foundry survey of nearly 1,800 gamers found 85% are negative about generative AI in games. 63% selected the most negative option. That's worse than blockchain. And gamers really hated blockchain. At the Game Developers Conference in 2026, 52% of developers said AI is having a negative impact on the industry, up from 30% in 2025, up from 18% in 2024. The researchers noted, the more game industry professionals know about generative AI, the less they like it. But the executives say different numbers. Only 7% of developers said AI is positive. For executives, 19%. The people making the games and the people running the companies are reaching opposite conclusions. Call of Duty was so obviously full of AI-generated calling cards that it reached the United States Congress. Representative Rokana looked at the evidence and said, "We need regulations that prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs to extract greater profits. Artists at these companies need to have a say." Not everyone is reading from the same playbook. Larian Studios, the team behind Baldur's Gate 3, announced there will be no generative AI art in their next game. Their lead writer tested AI-generated text and rated it a 3 out of 10 at best. Panic, the maker of the Playdate console, banned generative AI from its store entirely. No art, no audio, no text, no dialogue. Their reasoning. There are lots of people in the world who are extremely eager and excited to create beautiful music, art and words. Indie developers started putting a golden no-gen AI seal on their store pages. One dev reported a 5 times sales increase after adding it. His take: you can market a label, but you can't market what's in the core. Players can sense the human touch. The question this episode set out to answer isn't whether AI is good or bad for games. It's simpler than that. When every disclaimer uses the same words, the same structure, the same 3-part formula, who are they actually talking to? You? Or their lawyers? Every claim in this video is sourced in the description. Every source is linked. And those disclaimers? They mention what AI made. They never mention who AI replaced. But that number exists too. And it tells a story none of these studios want on their Steam page.